What's up, YouTube? Special shout out to the subscribers here on the channel. Welcome back to another weekly video update documenting the training that I'm doing getting ready for Ironman Texas coming up in April. It is week 8 of the training so far, and that means there are 13 more weeks to go until the race. I think that overall things are still going well, feeling like I'm on track. And this previous week of training was easily the most challenging week of training that I have done in a long time for a couple of reasons, and I'll get into that here in the video. We'll take a look at how that tough week of training went last week, also take a peek at the week of training coming up ahead, and that'll be it for this installment. I'm excited to tell you all about it. So let's dive in and look at how last week went, why it was so tough. So the week did not start out very difficult. I was pretty tired from the previous weekend's training. Little bit of a flashback. I did a 3-hour, 30-minute long ride on the trainer the previous Sunday. So moving into Monday's workouts, I was a little tired. I saw that I had a swim and also another bike ride, so I was going to get back on the bike after that long ride the day before. But overall, Monday's training went pretty well. Almost 4,000 yards in the pool, felt pretty good. And then the bike ride was nice. I got outdoors and did some loops rather than riding on the trainer, so that was nice. And then I actually managed a third training session on Monday. I went to yoga on Monday night, and that was really nice just for some mobility, stretching, a little bit of yoga flow to help sort of recover from the weekend's training. Moving on to Tuesday, another easy bike ride. This time it was an hour, so it's kind of interesting how that works. You'll have, a long ride on the weekend, and then 2 days in a row after that, I'm getting back on the bike, albeit for shorter rides. But it's interesting because to me, it's like, okay, so 3.5 plus 45 plus another hour. I'm getting like these 4.5, 5, 6 hour chunks of biking across 2 or 3 days. So that volume of cycling is increasing, even though those rides are short. They kind of all add up is what I'm trying to get at. So by the time I was riding again on Tuesday, it's day 3 in a row of riding. Did that one on the trainer and was able to hold nice zone 2 power on that ride. I believe that I tried to, so Monday's ride I took it really easy, and then Tuesday's ride I tried to ride a little bit more in that mid to high end zone 2 power range and just keep my heart rate under control. So got my heart rate up a lot higher on Tuesday than I did on Monday. So back-to-back days of cycling, easy, felt good. Running off the bike on Tuesday was a great run. I felt really comfortable running mid 740s, and that's really right where I would like to be moving forward, getting ready for race day. That type of pace for my race day pace would be phenomenal. Anywhere between 740, 815 range would be wonderful. So always nice to get those brick runs done at that target pace. Moving on to Wednesday's swim. Bit of a challenge on Wednesday to get the workout done as planned. I got about 500 yards into my swim and then had to end up splitting a lane with another swimmer. I'd never actually swam with that individual before, and they spoke that they preferred to do circle swimming. So she was pretty quick. It wasn't like an issue where I couldn't keep up with her or she would be passing me in the lane, but it made the workout that I had that day kind of challenging because I didn't want to deal with trying to overtake this swimmer. So I ended up just swimming for time, settled in at a nice sort of easy pace and just circle swam with this other athlete for about 40 minutes. And that was a nice way to sort of, I didn't want to, again, it's always kind of tricky when you have to share a lane. So I try to just have an open mind going into it. Even though I didn't exactly get that specific workout done, I still spent some good time in the water. And then went on to have a nice group strength session the next hour. I got out of the pool, went over, and knocked out that strength session. So moving on to Thursday, I had my first actual meeting with a strength trainer. Went over some of my range of motion, looked at the way that I move through things like squats, also looked at my hip mobility. The strength trainer seemed to think that she could see a few things right off the bat that we're going to need to address over the next 12 weeks. So I'm excited. I'm going to be meeting with her one-on-one once a week, and I'm also going to be getting some homework. So as I get into that strength training, I will definitely give a little bit of an overview of specifically what I'm doing with the strength trainer. But for now, I'm just really happy that I actually took the first step and actually got that first initial assessment done. So that went well on Thursday. And now one of the reasons why this last week of training was difficult was because I needed to shift my long run and long ride earlier. Turns out that this past Sunday was the Houston Marathon, and every year we love to go out and cheer for some of the athletes that we work with. This year I had one athlete that I've been coaching for more than a year that was going for a PR, so I really wanted to make sure that I could be there on Sunday to cheer him on, and also just all the other friends that come out to run the Houston Marathon. So instead of doing my long run on Saturday and then my big brick workout on Sunday, I started with my long run on Friday. Friday's long run was 1 hour 45 minutes, ended up being about 12 miles, and that run was a bit of a challenge. So I'm not sure if it was just sort of like I'm running sooner than I'm used to, like cutting out that Friday where I'm usually taking it kind of easy. But my heart rate was much higher than normal on my easy run on Friday. It was manageable, but just definitely noticeable. So got through that run right about 12.2 miles, and then moving on to Saturday, which was easily one of the hardest days of training that I've had in a while. So the workout called for 5 hours on the bike, and there were a lot of intervals involved in this 5 hours. Turns out that the way the workout was written here in my training peaks, it was accidentally doubled. So I actually did 75 minutes high zone 2, and then I did 5 by 12 minute zone 3 with 3 minute zone 4, no recovery. That put me at about 2.5 hours. And then I did this 30-minute zone 4. I broke that up into 3 10-minute chunks. So it was a monster of a ride. Ended up going 96.1 miles inside Zwift. Took a little break in the middle here to have some second breakfast. Wanted to make sure I had enough energy to get this ride done. I stopped my watch, I think 5 times, and each time that I stopped, I got off the bike for about 5 minutes. So I ended up counting that time into the total ride time. Stopped at about 4 hours and 40 minutes total ride time. At that point, I had been working out for almost 6 hours, 5.5 hours. Whew. I will say that the last hour of that bike ride was probably the most fatigued I've felt on my bike in a long time, at least 2 years. Power came down below my heart rate for a little while during that last hour. It really felt like the wheels sort of fell off around mile 80 on that bike ride, and then the last hour or the last 16 miles of it was really just pushing myself to keep going despite feeling like, again, like the wheels had fallen off. Like I could still pedal the bike, but just the ability to put out the power that I had in the first hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of the bike ride, I just couldn't do it. So I accept that. I think that it's important to understand that, you sort of get to a point and there's not really much you can do to force yourself to come back. Did my best to fuel with nutrition, but really that last hour was beyond my sort of comfort zone. Ended up being a real challenge to stay on the bike. But I'm, despite that last hour being really tough, I am really surprised that I was able to nail the intervals as well as I did. That 5 by 15 minute part, that's an hour 15 straight of zone 3, zone 4 work. I was able to hit my power average for every single one of those intervals. And then the 30-minute zone 4, I honestly wasn't sure at that point. I think I started that around the 3-hour mark. I wasn't even sure if I could do zone 4 power output for 2 minutes, never mind 30. But I got the first 10 minutes done, took a little rest, got the second 10 minutes done, and then it was just all right, it's go time. last 10 minutes, and I was able to get that one done too. And again, that put me at around 3 hours 45 minutes. And then I spent the last hour really just, again, doing my best to keep the pedals moving. Despite being so worn out on the bike, I was able to actually get off my bike and run decently well. I took the first half of the run very easy on purpose, really just jogged it, tried to let my body sort of get used to running, and really tried not to put a lot of pressure on myself to go out and, hammer off the bike, especially considering I ran 12 miles a day before, then did that 4-hour, 40-minute ride with the intervals. I really just wanted to be kind to my body and let it adjust. So ran about 25 minutes in that really easy sort of jog mode, and then let's see if I can run a mile at easy pace. Pushed the effort, and my body responded surprisingly well. Was able to run a nice brisk 2 miles to finish off that brick run, and I gotta say it felt really good because I really wasn't even sure if I'd be able to get running after how difficult that ride was. And the fact that I was able to dig deep, 6 hours since I started the training session earlier in the morning and run those 2 miles, that really felt good, and I'm really happy with that. So, and of course, it was wonderful yesterday to go out to the Houston Marathon. Had a very successful day out there. The athlete that I've been working with for more than a year crushed their PR by more than 18 minutes and ran a sub 3:30. So that was fantastic to be there for. So I survived that training week. Moving into this training week, I am definitely a little bit banged up. Shout out to my right calf that started really kind of stinging during that last hour on the bike, and it's been a little bit trouble just kind of walking around, not lying, just walking around after that long brick workout on Saturday was kind of tough. Moving around, hustling around at the Houston Marathon to be where we needed to be was a little bit of a challenge. But fast forward to today, that calf is feeling a little bit better. It didn't give me any trouble in the pool, and it's just one of those things, man. When you push yourself like I did on Saturday, it's going to take a little while to recover. So moving on to this week's training. Already went and got my swim done. I'm not sure why it's not showing up here. Very fatigued in the water this morning. Really just couldn't hang on to the type of paces that I'm used to for like my usual steady effort, usual fast effort. But I really just was able to let that go. Just went by feel. Tomorrow looks like a 45-minute easy ride. That sounds good. Wednesday, the only thing I have on the plan here is a strength training session. So I'm looking forward to recovering hopefully pretty well over the next 2 days. Thursday, we have a 2-hour brick workout. Big gear bike. Looks like 5 by 8 minute at zone 4 effort. That should be good. And a 30-minute transition run off the bike on Thursday. Also on Thursday, I should be going to meet with my strength trainer. And so Thursday will be a pretty full day, brick workout. And then we got our strength training session on Thursday as well. Friday, long swim, pace change 500s. 4x500 is the main set. That should be a good swim. Another 1 hour, 45-minute easy pace run on Saturday. Hopefully my heart rate will be more under control for that one. And honestly, just looking at this week, I think that by the time the weekend rolls around, I should be pretty nicely recovered. So optimistic that Saturday's run will go well. And then look at that, Sunday, 2 hour, 15-minute bike ride and a 45-minute transition run. Honestly, after a 5-hour bike ride last weekend, 2 hours, 15 minutes sounds phenomenal. And I do want to just comment real quickly on, I was a little surprised to see such a long bike ride on my plan, 14 weeks out from the race. But rather than sort of contact my coach and say, hey, are you sure this is the right move? This isn't too long, too fast, or too long, too quick. I really just decided to trust him and go for it. And I think that it was really good for me to go through a 5-hour ride this early on because I was able to do it, even though the last hour was really tough. But it just has me feeling more confident that, you know, I can handle the training that I need to do to get ready for this race. And honestly, the training for an Ironman, in my experience, the training itself is more difficult than the day of. The day of is, you know, you just hope that nothing gets in your way, and that there's a lot of excitement and momentum, and you know, it's a lot of things to help move you forward on race day that aren't really there on those random 5 hour trainer rides and those, you know, long 12-mile runs that you just did a 12-mile run 5 days ago. You know, that whole training vibe part of it is more challenging in my opinion. So the fact that I'm able to look at a 2 hour, 15-minute bike ride and think, whew, piece of cake, that sounds great. I think that's a testament to me pushing through a long, hard 5 hour bike ride, even though I'm 14 weeks out. So I feel like I got that week of training done. Even though I was really nervous about it, I was really thrilled to get through with it. And I'm looking forward to continuing this momentum into the next week of training. So I will be back next week with an update on how that's all going, and hopefully be able to talk a little bit more about the strength training that I'm going to be doing. As of right now, I don't have a specific like list of what the strength training is going to entail, but I should get more details as the week progresses, and I'm sure after I meet with her on Thursday, I'll know a little bit more. So stay tuned for more of an update on that next week. Other than all that, that is everything. That is week 8 done. Whew, 13 weeks to go. And I will be back with more of these updates as the weeks progress. So thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. Definitely let me know if you have any thoughts about this training journey in the comments. And I really appreciate you watching, tuning in. See you next time. Bye.